Previously on
Mochi making terrible life decisions.
So we're at the final episode for this series. Well, this season, not series. I still have one more season to go, and then the series is over. Now, doing draw order and then having to do physics on things later is annoying. Yeah, that's pretty much all for this model. Okay, hey, so we're back for the final season of this. It's kind of bittersweet, I guess. Okay, I recorded the footage months ago, but I've been procrastinating on editing. But that's fine. There's just been a lot going on, but hey, at least we're at the final stretch, right? So I think I'll try to keep most of the videos short, but we'll have to see about that. So this is the final muse that I'm modeling, and he looks different every photo. You can kind of see as I'm flashing all of these photos of him. He's the third most drawn muse. And I like to think that I keep some things relatively the same. So he doesn't have a reference sheet, so of course I had to make up an outfit out of my ass. But it is what it is. He is kind of fun to draw though. He does have this Grim Reaper form that I did, but I'm not using that. Instead, I'm actually gonna do his sorcerer form, which is the canon for the fantasy, and I do like the design a lot. Even in the last speed paint video of this season, I'm still cutting out the feet. And as you can see, I imported Jihoon's model for a split second as a height reference. I actually had a hard time figuring out what to do with him in terms of pose. I didn't want something too basic, but in the end I kind of decided to have him in a turned out pose, sort of, with his legs, rather than the pigeon toed I had with everyone else. And it's so that when I rig the body, I can actually make him do more ballet sort of movements, I guess, if that makes sense. So you'll see me working on all this stuff. I think this was my shortest model that I worked on, in terms of time. I think this one only took 9 hours. As usual, we have the normal stuff. I was having a crisis with him because I was do I want to do a bunch of extra doohickeys or whatnot? Because at the time when I was making this, school was kind of starting, so I would be very short on time actually. But alas, I kind of persisted. So you'll see me draw this much later, but I decided to have some kind of arm toggles, arm hand tracking. Not really hand tracking, it's the cheap hand tracking. When I say cheap, I really mean the hands just suddenly switch, but there is some hand motions and whatnot, and you'll definitely see me draw that later on. Initially, I thought to not include it because I wasn't gonna have time, or at least I thought I wouldn't, but then I was ah, fuck it, you only live once, you know? So I did decide to do it, but it was very painful, and I was not experienced with doing all this at all. I wanted to do advanced hand arm rigging, but with my trial and everything, I wouldn't have time, so I had to settle for this other option. But if I ever get the pro version of Live2d for real, I think I want to do advanced arm rigging and everything. Okay, so you'll see me working on this first outfit here, and I normally like to cut up everything into every single individual outfit layer, but I didn't do it this time. It was mainly because I was really short on time, and I was oh man, I don't have time for this, so I was just rushing through it. So some stuff is a little scuffed, but it is what it is, right? So you have this second outfit that I pretty much pulled out of my ass, but I actually really liked how I designed it in the end. It was based off of a doodle I made of him, and it's in my sketchbook. It's a traditional piece of art, which is why I didn't show it, because I don't typically take pictures of my traditional art. I have a few posted on my Instagram, but yeah, no, I just don't. The thing that was different with this one is that I had to draw these pants on a completely different layer because I was high-waisted pants? But yeah, I mean, it was still fine to rig, I guess, and everything, but still. The sorcerer outfit I had mixed feelings about, I guess. It wasn't like, the top wasn't perfectly symmetrical, but at least it was sleeveless. I feel like if it wasn't sleeveless, I would have killed myself. It would have been just bad. So you'll see me like doing these marks and everything, and I thought, oh yeah, just have these like glowing marks. It's just a sorcerer thing, you know. It's weird to like just trust my character design skills. And of course, like, you know, you'll see me do this later, but I gave him an aura. I should have actually made it blue though, because he does blue. He uses like blue fire, which is like really hot. I had some backstory as to why he did that. I'm not gonna share it here because I'm lazy. It's just, I'll explain it another time, you know? So yeah, now you see me working on like the arm toggles, and you have to draw your arms like a specific way, you know, in order for it to work. Well, at least the upper arms, you know, you have to make sure you separate your arms. And as you can see, yes, I just have pre-made like hands or whatever that I just kind of like did. It was painful. And then obviously I have to do all the accessories and everything, so it's kind of like, oh goodness, you know? It looks a little questionable, but you know what, as long as it works, right? But yeah, everything just kind of looks a little whack, but hey, at least like I survived doing this, you know? Now of course, you know, here's like the faraway look of this model. It was okay, I guess. You know, I always feel like I can do better, maybe if I just didn't have to rush it and whatnot. But, of course, here is, like, you know, the close-up. I can't do clothing folds, that's why they look a little goofy. I need to just keep studying how to do clothes. I mean, I posted a few clothing studies, but, yeah. So here is all three of, like, the outfits all together. And they look fine. Completely different vibes, I guess. I mean, how else am I supposed to explain it? This is what happens when I don't have a reference sheet and I come up with everything out of my ass. Like, you just kind of get weirdness. And of course, you know, after I finished the drawing, I got to actually rigging. Well, kind of. I think I did some eye rigging, but I had to like go ahead and reorganize everything. I actually hate reorganizing anything into Live2d. File setup will forever be like the #1 thing I hate. But I mean, you know, since at the time I had the pro versions, like free trial, I could just, you know, use the warp deformers and just reorganize everything, because reorganization is like really important, especially when you're like rigging and doing all this stuff. But of course, you could just not be organized and suffer in the process. Yeah, actually looking at this footage again, it's just file organization. I didn't have time to rig the eye, but I mean, I would have loved to. Don't worry, next episode you'll see actual rigging. But yeah.